Today, we're making a casual prime rib. Come along, let me show you how to make it. A lot of people are scared of working with prime rib, but not today. I'm going to walk you through the casual version. It all starts with a nice compound butter that you can make on your own. The recipe will be in the description, but I'll walk you through it. You're basically adding some salt, some pepper, you've got granulated onion and granulated garlic, and then you can use dried thyme and dried rosemary, but I go for the fresh. So some little fresh thyme and some fresh rosemary make this thing perfect. And then you need to mix it up. So you want to be sure you're using a nice already room temperature butter so that you can do this, or softened butter works. It takes a little bit of time. I would do this with a fork. I wouldn't move this into some blender or some high powered thing. But look at this. Oh, I could just slather this on my arm and eat it that way. But don't worry, I won't. Here's the rib roast I got. If you're looking closely at the label, it says that this expired in January 2025, but don't worry, it's been in my deep freezer, it's good to go. So this one's a pretty big one. This one's almost 6 pounds. So I just like to get off some of that moisture. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna cut off the rib part and I'm gonna reattach it. And I'll explain why I do that. So if you find where the ribs are, this is a 2-bone prime rib. So I'm just gonna kind of come in, take a knife and cut along the side. And the reason I do it is it's gonna be a lot easier once it's cooked to be able to take that thing off rather than when it's piping hot. So I'm gonna leave that one off. And then I'm also going to score the fat cap because I'm gonna rub this compound butter in, and I really want it getting through that fat cap because a lot of that fat's gonna render and kind of burn off a little bit on that. And now we're gonna take some of that compound butter and just get it all over that prime rib. Now you just want to rub that butter all over that meat. Yeah, get it in every nook and cranny, all over the top and the bottom and the sides. Treat that meat with love. Get it all over there. Yeah, even on the bottom. That's right. And then, wait, what? We're out of butter. Oh, all right, back to our regular scheduled program. So I'm going to reattach those rack of ribs onto the bottom. Now, I'm not going to season the bottom with the compound butter because those are just going to be like regular ribs and they're going to be on the bottom, using as a little protection to keep the prime rib from burning. Now, I like to use twine then to reattach it. You don't want it all loosey-goosey on it. So I've taken 3 pieces of twine and I'm just going to go ahead and tie those back on to exactly where it is. You can see how I do it here. And then at the end, I'm going to cut them off. Just try to get your best to get those things tied pretty tight. It is a little tough once you get all that butter all over the place. All right, then we're going to cut off that extra twine so it doesn't get in the way. And here we have it. It's pretty much good to go. I'm just making sure it's squared up on the rack of ribs. So we're done, it's all twined up and this is looking great. I'm super excited for baking racks. I don't have any fancy pants, big baking rib rack that I could put it in. So I'm just putting it on like kind of a wire rack over a baking pan, baking sheet. Be sure you put a roasting pan or baking sheet underneath it so it'll catch the drippings. Otherwise it will ruin your oven and set that thing on fire. So here's the finished look so far, all rubbed up with that nice herb rub of rosemary, thyme, salt, pepper, garlic, and onion. I'll put the cooking directions in the description, but you're gonna get this into a screaming hot oven at 500 degrees. You're gonna cook it for 7 minutes a pound. Mine was 6 pounds, that's 42 minutes. Then you're turning the oven off and you're not opening that oven at all, no matter what, until it's done. All right, while that's in the oven, getting ready for a couple hours, we're gonna get going on a great creamed horseradish recipe that you want. It'll be in the description. We have whipping cream, we have prepared horseradish, and we have a little bit of sugar. It takes a little bit to get that prepared horseradish out. Be sure you get the prepared, not the part that's already done. And what I'm gonna do, because there's so much moisture, I'm gonna put it on a paper towel and I'm going to squeeze out some of that moisture. If you have cheesecloth or something like that, it makes it a little easier. Otherwise, the paper towel might break. But I'm just going to take it and put it right here, get that prepared horseradish nice and dried without all that moisture in it. And I'm going to combine it with the sugar and a little of that heavy whipping cream in a standing blender. And I'm going to whip this thing. And in order to whip this, you need to have that mixing bowl a little bit cold and make sure the whipping cream is cold. So we're going to put it in there and put it on high and get this thing whipped up. This only takes a few minutes. I've sped it up for the process, but this comes really quick where it becomes nice and solidified into these peaks. You can take a look at that here. And this stuff is so thick that after I take it out, I can even turn it upside down and it's not going anywhere. We're going to just put that right into a bowl and we're going to smush that down a little bit and we're going to throw that into the refrigerator to let that set up. I also like to make my own French dip or au jus sauce. This is the version I use that I pick up at Stater Brothers, but do your own research and find one that you like if you want. All right, after 2 hours, I took mine out. Make sure you get that temperature probe out. This thing came out beautiful. Take a look at this. Oh, my temp probe showed about 129, so mine was more on the rare side, but that's fine with me. I like rare to medium rare. It looks a little crispy, but remember, that's just the outside crust. By the time we carve this thing open, it's going to be perfect. So I'm going to take off that twine first of all, and this is why the twine was so important. I remove that twine and watch how easy these ribs come off. And you can eat these ribs later. They're an extra little treat for the chef. So look at this. Perfect. There's those ribs. Oh, but that's not even what we're cooking. We're really in this just for the prime rib today. Look at the bottom of this. Oh, this thing cooked all the way through in basically 3 hours. For me, 42 minutes at 500. The rest of the time, it just sat for 2 hours in that oven on off. So I'm going to carve this up and let's see the final reveal. Oh, this is perfect. For me, that is great. That's the way I like it. Rare to mid-rare, beautiful. And I am going to steal my bite. Take a look at that and let's see how it is. Oh my God. Guys, the juiciness on this is fantastic. It seriously does not get any easier than this. Here's the finished plate. I have my prime rib with some of that creamed horseradish, some au jus sauce, some roasted potatoes, and a little bit of some salad with some avocado, tomato, and red onions. If you found this at all good, please consider a like and subscribe so you can get future notifications on videos. Thanks again, and remember, keep it casual.